Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I just thought I'd show you this to start off. This is what Candace's box looks like right now. So I just thought I'd show you. This is the top here of what's supposed to get inside this box. Let's see how we do. I will show you what's in the box so you can see what Candace chose for her Thrifty, Kim's Thrifty box. And then I will show you the end when I got it all packed. Okay, be right back. Hi everyone, I'm back. Okay, I've got her box on the table now. I'm just going to take a few things out so that they don't fall out on me. So I'll put that down, this one, this, these, this, and this. Okay, so that'll get us at least a little bit started. So a lot of this stuff on top is the things that she just chose from our last destash video. So underneath here is, I thought it would be around 40 pages, but it turns out that it's about 60 plus pages. I had a whole stack of magazines. I just divvied them up between all the Thriftees, you know, just eeny, meeny, miny, mo until they were all gone. Everyone got an assortment of a little bit of color, because some of the magazines had color in them. And then, you know, they know the scoop because they watched the video. So they got a little bit of everything. It worked out really nicely, including these really large music sheets, which they are great if you cut them down to 8.5 by 11 and put them through your printer. There are a lot of music sheets in here that don't have words on them, so that allows for extra space for doing inking and stamping and collaging on top. So it's a fun mix. It's a great way if you haven't got a mix of these large magazines and images. It's a great way to have a good assortment to get started. In fact, some people even ask for two. So she chose that. That's one of her items. And now this was from the last Thrifty Canucks that I did. And this is just some wallpaper. There's enough here to get 2 good size signature pages. I think there's 4 birdhouses in total. 1, 2, 3 birdhouses. I thought it was 4. Oh yeah, it is 4. There's the 4th one. So it's easy to cut this in half and use it for 2 signature pages. And you know, they're quite long pages, so you could cut this border off, or you could cut the flowers off at the bottom, do some fussy cutting and cut those out separately to use. Lots of possibilities. She had chosen, this was also from my last Thrifty Canucks, she had chosen both of the wired ribbons that I got. And for the Thrifties that did take this ribbon, I don't know where my math was that day, because the roll said 25 feet. And I said, yeah, I can give you guys each a half a yard, and that'll give me about a couple yards left for myself. 25 feet is 8 yards. So I was able to give everybody a whole yard for those that took them. And the fun part is some of you just took the pineapple. Some of you just took the flowers. So in the end, I still have way more than I'll ever use. So that worked out really nicely. Another item from last week, and I still have to put the pins on this one, and I will do that right away, Candace, before I close the box up. 2 of these, this was a sari scarf, like a really long sort of a wrap. And I just tore it into long strips. It went the whole length, and it is 3 flowers wide. So it's about maybe 4.5 inches approximately. And it tears beautifully. So if you wanted to have just 1 flower strip, because the flowers do go all the way through here. I'll just take some off for you to see. So if you wanted to just have 1 flower strip, it would be easy to tear. And then, you know, she could have a 2 wide and a 1 inch wide strip. So very easy to tear. You do have to deal with the strings for the first couple of rounds, you know, taking them off, but then afterwards it's fine. So yeah, I'll put the pins on these. I'll leave that up on top to do that. The last destash, we had some buttons, a bag of buttons. It's just a mixed bag. All, you know, a combination of vintage and new buttons, you know, some gently used, of course. It's just whatever I had a whole bunch of bags of buttons that I put all together, and then I made up the baggies, and that's how it went. Another sari, or kind of a cotton, sari cotton is what it is, and I cut this into strips. I think it's about 3 inches wide. 2 inches wide? 2 inches wide. Well, it's probably closer to 2.5. But yeah, fun fabric to work with. Really nice and easy to work with. I will re-roll that up. And it stays okay. It's okay. Then I also had, in this last destash, I had a games ephemera paper pack. So there are tickets, there are deeds to properties from Monopoly, this stock ticker. I don't know what game this is. I can't remember. Anybody remember? Monopoly Money, which is, I'm surprised. Some of it says copyright 1937. Same with this. This is by Cope Clark, copyright 1937. So some of it is older. And these tickets are fun, lovely color, nice contrast with the black on it, and quite a strip. And she chose I'll just take it out for now, the textured paper that I had. I had a special order cut that I had to cut for someone, and these were offcuts, and they're 3 inches by 6 inches, which is perfect for making a tag. You just have to cut the corners, just to make it into a shipping tag, or put some type of a tab on top. A piece of cotton like this is good for making a tab. Super easy. So she chose that. She chose the CD envelopes, and I was making a joke the other day saying that these are obsolete. They're like vintage, retro. I don't know what you would call this era. And then I had some vellum, and these were just odds and ends in the vellum that I was going through. So they're strange pieces. I don't understand them. They have half has foil on it, the other half doesn't. So it goes like that all the way through all of the pieces, unless you're supposed to fold them in half, but I really don't know. But they would make great windows if you're using frames for making, window frames. They would make great frames because they are translucent. It is vellum, so it would look nice in a frame. And then the other thing I offered was a package of mushrooms. These are mushroom pages from a mushroom book that I picked up, and it was full of these full page illustrations, and so they're like plates. So I was able to take the sheets out, and now they can be used for signature pages or tucked in a journal or fussy cut. Some of them you could easily fussy cut. So she chose those. And I was able to give everybody a few extra because I kind of glanced at who was taking and who wasn't. And so instead of having lots left over, I just divvied it up into a few bunches so that there would be more for everybody. Everybody that did take them. Because I have another whole book, and I did cherry pick a few for myself. Okay, now we're actually at the top of the box. So I can start taking a few things out gently. All right, here's a bunch. This is from a while back now. My goodness, Candace, you're right. You probably did forget everything that was in here. This is a lovely fabric. It's a good size piece for doing journal covers. If you choose, you'd easily get 2 out of here. It's a very textured fabric. The circles are raised above the base fabric, but they just allow themselves to use as a focal point, as a little frame. If you don't use the whole thing for 2 journals, you can cut these up into little individual little pieces that you can use as spot elements. So fun stuff that you can do with this. I picture having beads beaded right through this whole thing, and then some type of a little image in the center. And same with this. I can see a flower stitched onto here and then further embellished. One of these days I'll get to do some. One of these days. She chose the, this was a piece of heart lace, like they're individual little hearts. They are a little bit, actually, they don't smell so bad. I think they smelled bad at first, but whatever, you may want to wash this just in case. So it's, but they're beautiful because you could use it as a strip, like one little strip to embellish on a page, or you can use them individually for clusters and snippets, all kinds of things. This could be the tab at the top of a journal card to make like a little, a little tab thing. So fun stuff. They could be tabs in your journal. She also chose, I had a very small piece of this, so I did offer everybody a couple of squares, and because not everybody took, I was able to give you a little bit extra if I had it in this case, so you got an extra one. And then this was just an offcut at the end. It's a part one, Candace, so you'll just have that extra piece. Be good for snippets. This is beautiful fabric, and I offered everybody a piece of this. So again, it could be used for a journal cover. It's thinner fabric. I offer, like, some of these are sheets or cotton fabrics. And when I say they're good for a journal cover, I mostly would use this type of cotton fabric as the liners that go on the inside. However, with this beautiful of a pattern, I would definitely, there's a little thread in there, I would definitely back this with felt and have something else for the liner, and then I would do some slow stitching on top of here. So that would give you that cushiony pillowed look. So definitely this can be a cover, and just a beautiful combination of colors, right? This was some wired edge ribbon. Oh gosh, this goes back a while too. I had got these this summer in September when we went to PEI. The woman had an assortment of ribbons, and so they're all variegated colors. Love this. And they are wired edge, but you can take the wire out, so just be careful with the wire. Great for making pockets, belly bands, turning them into flowers, lots of possibilities. And then there's the purple that fades into a light blue. And then there's a pink with green. Love these. I haven't had a chance to use these yet myself, so hopefully one day soon. So many projects, so little time. This is my favorite. Still is my number one favorite. Whenever I see this, I get all excited. Just look at the colors. This was a bed sheet, if you can imagine that. And as soon as I saw it, I just scooped it right away. Has a very soft feel to it. So lots of polyester in this one. Again, I would add felt underneath it and slow stitch on top. Just think of the things that you can create. It's like coloring with fabric. So I will enjoy, when it comes to my turn to play, I will enjoy playing with this one as well. Now, whenever I get sheets, I try to offer you the piece, which is usually anywhere from about 10 to 15 inches on one side and 15 to 20 inches the other way. This way you have enough to do a journal cover, and you have lots left over for doing pockets and little extras for your journal, maybe a fabric flip or again, snippet rolls and clusters and stuff. But when the sheet is big enough, I also offer you a strip. And this, I tear these running right across the whole sheet, so you get a good length. But, it depends. If it's a twin sheet versus a queen, there's always going to be, there's no guarantee as to how wide it's going to be. But it's still a good length, even if it's a twin. And so this allows you to use it separately. You can make ties, snippets, and again, pockets, belly bands, all that stuff. And it's almost, this one is... it's about 3.5 inches wide. So good width. And I have to put a pin on this, so I'll put that up there as well. I have to laugh. Way at the beginning of time when I first started doing this, and I'm going to show you by pulling this out if I can. I can't. I have a coaster inside here that I wrap this around. Way at the beginning of time, I offered everybody coasters. I think only one person in all the Thriftees took me up on the coasters. I think only one. But then I got wise and I said, yeah, if I wrap fabric around these things, it makes the fabric look nice, and I get rid of these one coaster at a time. So this is working. And that I'll just stick aside for the end. Okay, she chose the week before. I had the destash of, this was the Midas Touch kit. I'm not going to open it up. If you go back a few videos, you'll find it. So this was my Midas Touch kit. It's done with gold fabrics. So this is the start of the kit. Big enough to make a couple of journals out of here. And then I just added some stuff for linings, and I said, you know, maybe some pockets. And then I started adding trims and fun goodies to be on top. But after watching that jewelry heist in France, in Paris, I got the idea that, you know, the Midas Touch needs to have some jewels with it. Because, you know, I would make an all gold journal, but not everybody wants to make an all gold. So they may want accents of other colors. So I offered everybody to tell me what their crown jewel color would be. And so she chose sapphire. And so she has a bag of sapphire goodies and trims and, you know, bits and pieces, little pieces of fabric and some jewels that she can use to further enhance this. And doesn't that look amazing? Oh, I just love it. Now, Ruth got the very first kit sent out to her in her box, but it wasn't until after I packed her box that I realized I still had enough room to get it into that box. Otherwise, she almost didn't get it, but she did get it. And I think she chose turquoise was her color. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see the combinations now together. So yeah, Candace, I think you're going to have fun with this. Also with this, I offered this foil. There's both kind of this bronzy coppery gold color, and then there is a bright gold. I'm not going to open this up because it expands. But it's heat embossing foil, but I showed in a video how you can use this just with glue to use as an extra medium on your journal embellishing. So she chose to take a piece of that. And no shortage of this, so ever you run out of it, you just ask for more anytime. In fact, if you become a thrifty and I don't offer this, ask for it if you want it. At one time I had a random pack of paper, so whatever this is, I forget. Candace, I forget. You'll have to go back and look. But I know that there is some authentic stuff in here because I can see some Russian ruples, real authentic Russian ruples, and I see a promissory note in here and some diary pages. So I know that there is some authentic stuff in here. There's glassine bags and a few other little goodies. But it's, I think it was an 80-piece kit. I can't remember. So she chose that. And then this was a round of assorted postcards, and I've bought 2 lots of postcards from this lady, and I picked a few out for myself, but then the rest of it I just went eeny, meeny, miny, mo, made some piles, and I said if anybody wants some. They're postcards. They're not perfect. They're in good shape, but some of them have no writing on the back. Some of them have ugly pictures, but you can always cover the picture. Some of them have writing on the back that might be of interest to you, as well as the stamps. They range anywhere from about 1950s to current, but great for... and then there was some things that had notes. It was whatever was in the pile, I just divvied up between everybody. But they're great to use if you're going to collage on top and repurpose them into other postcards. So like this is a little package of postcards. I don't even know what's in here, but yeah, it's just a mix. I went eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's how I like to do things, and it makes it more fun than you have fun going through it when you get it at the other end. Now this was a greeting card pack, I think. I think that's what this was. No, it's another ephemera pack. It was a large ephemera pack. Yes, so there's envelopes, popcorn bags, little envelopes, little tiny ones. You know, I can't even remember again, sorry. But it's just fun. Some is vintage, there's photos. Some is newer, but a good mix to get you started for doing something fun and different. I did have a time when I offered books, and she chose 2 different books, Teddy's Button, and this one is Canadian Civics. Love the green cover on here. This is New Brunswick, and the copyright on here is 1918. For me, it's the font, it's the, you know, the colored pages, great for collage and mixed media. But I love the book covers. So, you know, I would gut this right away, maybe keep the first couple of pages that have the copyright just for the sake of saying, you know, that this is from 1918, this cover. And then, you know, I'd put a whole new journal in here and then use the, oh, there's some, look at that, you got a bonus, some writing on here to use in your journal. But yeah, all paper to use for ephemera and stuff. And then this one, Teddy's Button. I don't know what her story is on it, but I'm sure she's got a fun use for this coming up. Now, no date on this one. But we did come to agree for most of these books that, you know, they are older. Not old enough to probably photocopy and reuse, but certainly old enough to use for ephemera. Nice thick pages in here. So these make really good bases for doing ephemera on top of. To collage on top. Another time I got this book and it was all of these. They're actually pictures of library cards, and the person wrote out a library card for all the books that she read that she enjoyed or that she had information on. And then the pictures, you know, you'd have to go and read the book, I guess, to understand what the pictures mean, but they have some reference to the actual book. So she gives you the book name and the book title, the year of the book. I think that's what this is. Not 100%. You know, I'd have to go back to read her original preface in her book. But yeah, the pages are great. The only thing is most of them are, you know, backed with another image on the other side. So the only thing I suggest is that if you cut it out, you can either leave it like that and tuck it into a journal just like that. Or you can turn one side into a notebook by gluing down or stapling some pages, but leaving this part so that you can flip the paper up, so that you can actually see the one side, and then the other side is, of course, what is the visual for your notebook, but at least you can still flip it up and see the last page if you choose. That's just a method I would use. So she got three pages of this, and because I offered everybody 3 pages, so that gives you 4, 8, 12. You just have to decide which side, and I don't think it's that hard. There may be the odd one where you'd say, oh, can't decide which one to use, but for the most part I think they're pretty easy to use. A woman's weekly magazine. Now she went back into, you know, the archives of Kim's Thriftees. She went back to some of the original videos and saw that there were some items available. So she contacted me and asked me if she could have one of these books. And I think either her or Helen got the last one, the very last one. But these are all from, this one's 1963. So they ranged anywhere from the early 60s, maybe 1959, I can't remember, and then up to early 1970s. So I just said, random draw. If you want one, you don't know which one you're going to get. It's going in your box. And fun advertisements that you can use to make fun journal cards. And, you know, some of them are funny. Some of these images you could I don't know if you can see that. Am I way out of... Yeah, I am. Sorry. I hope the whole video hasn't been like this. But yeah, some of these images you could use for making those ID cards. But most of them are fun. and great collage stuff too. She chose a pack of hairpins. Those are vintage hairpins, great for making, for using for, you know, to maybe glue down and then have something attach onto it like a dangle. Okay, this is a mixed package here. I offered some plastic doilies for people to use for doing doilies printed on coffee stained or stained paper that you're making. There are lots of videos if you haven't seen this before. You coffee stain your paper, and while it's still wet, you place the doily on top, and that will leave the imprint of the negative imprint of the doily onto the paper. It's really cool. So if you have a chance to get some of this type of plastic, give it a try, or watch some videos so you can see how it looks. This is a little notes on the cathedrals booklet. I picked up a bunch of these at an antique store, and I kept a few for myself, and I asked the girls if they wanted one, and they are just little black and white pictures. These could all be taken from the book and used to make little miniature postcards or little, you know, writing cards, or just tucked in, you know, as a little tuck spot element in your journals. For myself, my whole purpose was to, I mean, I will use the inside pages, but my whole purpose was I wanted these green covers to make some little mini notebooks. So I kept a few for myself. Underneath this, okay, this was an assortment of papers. I don't remember everything. Okay, this was some Japanese postcards that I got in a book. Beautiful. And they are technically 2 pages, but on the back side it's blank. So you could cut this to be an individual little postcard like this. Or you can have it as a little booklet fold where the picture's on the outside and then you have a writing space on the inside. So you would have 2 little booklets like that. Or you can turn it into 4 postcards, because even half of the postcard is, or half of the card is just beautiful. It was a great book, and so I was able to offer everybody a couple of those. I did have a vintage book that I wanted the covers, so I said if anybody wanted some, I would offer them, you know, some pages of the book. It's kind of a children's book and not my thing, so I said if anybody wants some, I will just, you know, pull off a chunk until it's gone, and then everybody gets some, and then then I'm not stuck with the inside. A Rodale gardening book. This one is from 1986. Fun images, fun advertisements. I personally love these business reply cards that come in these kinds of magazines. They are fun to add into journals. This one has, you know, lots of nice colored images. Some of the old advertisements, even from the 80s, is funny now when you look at some of the advertisements in these books. So super fun. And, oh, that's a beautiful picture of tulips there. So you can have all kinds of fun. Even the advertisements that are here, you can cut these out into little strips and use that for, you know, little elements on your pages and stuff. Some of them are fun. Especially the want ads. Remember those days of want ads? Excuse me. What else was there? Oh, there were some, this was from an Audubon book. There were several, I offered everybody several pages. And then I had to learn how to do, oh gosh, words are hard some days. Not a stenographer, shorthand. So it was an explanation of how to do shorthand, and because Candace starts with a C, I gave her the section where there was her emblem. This is fun to cut out. You can cut it out and turn it into a little tag thing, or just have fun with it. Some ledger paper. This is fun paper. This is a doctor's ledger, and what he charged for doing different. Let's just read some of them. Now, because they are 1950s, I didn't want to show these because some of the names, they're from St. John, so some of the names, people might still be alive or their families might still be alive, and nobody wants to know that, like in this case, penicillin. What did they need penicillin for? So here I won't show you the name of the person, but in March, 16, 17, 18, they had penicillin, sent account to permission of somebody, and so it was $10 to have this penicillin. And then they had an LAP something for $100, and then slowly made payments, and then they had something else done. But just really fun. Some of them are boring, some of them are interesting, but they are great pages. They're blank on the other side to use for fodder. The only thing is you have to remember that in these days, that was somebody that was still living, 1953, 1955. It could be a child, so they would definitely still be alive. So it's always good to keep that in consideration when you get stuff like this, that they don't want to find their stuff in a journal that's published somewhere. So that is the papers that were in here. And then she chose the wrapping paper. I'm going to just turn this over, which includes one of my sheets that I normally sell. I don't have any up for sale right now, but if you do want some, you can always let me know. I do sell it for $1 per sheet, and I do make it cheaper if you're buying a 10-pack. So yeah, this is an assortment of tissue paper and wrapping paper in some vintage florals and different colors. I'm just going to try to open it up so you can see some of them. Some of you might actually even remember these packets that came out at one time. I think they were from the 1980s. But great tissue to use in our journals. So I'm going to tuck all that back in. Now the fun part is, even though Candace is getting to see all this here, it does not look the same when you actually get it and start opening things, because I'm just scratching the surface. Like, you can't see what is all in this package. You just know that it's a nice shiny shade of blue. But you don't know what's in here, and she gets the fun of going through all of that. And wherever possible, I try to add a few little extra surprises, but I think your box is pretty full. Okay, we're getting down to the end of it now. Okay, yeah. So she chose the junk drawer starter kit, which is about 50 plus pieces of different things. There's a bullet casing, a button, there's a chain, there's a piece of a watch, which can be taken apart to get the gears out of it. There's a key, there's a knob, and I always tell you, everybody needs a knob. They either know somebody who is a knob or they have a knob. Knobs are actually really good to put on hardcover journals where you make it like an opening to open, like you're opening a door. There's a bell, a marble, in case you lose a few of yours along the way. There is a silver spoon, and I always do a play on the silver spoon when I'm doing something with a child picture, and I say born with a silver spoon. Just kind of a play on it. There are some fasteners, some game pieces, some milk caps. It's all stuff from the junk drawer. The only thing that's missing is the dead batteries and a couple of rubber bands, and you're good to go. These are great. I have these for sale on my coffee site. These are a great, fun gag gift. If you've got a kid that's moving out to their first home or their first apartment, we all have the junk drawer. And so why not give them a junk drawer starter kit? So just a fun way to have a little fun with your kid before he moves out the door. he or she. And I do offer them on coffee. You get actually 2 packages for the price. So you get 2 whole kits like this, because maybe you want to keep one to add to your junk drawer. Because I'll tell you, you don't have all of this stuff in your drawer right now. So you may want to get another set for yourself. Anyway, just some fun there. And do check it out on coffee. This, again, she went back into the archives of our Thrifty adventure. This is some silk embroidery floss. It is a 6-strand. Now, I show this each time because it's just so unbelievable. When I got this, I didn't know what it was exactly. I'm just going to pull out one little hank here, this yellow. And some of them came solid colors. Some of them are mixed colors. Like this is half yellow and half light yellow. But the person did a lot of work. There were several full unopened skeins that I have to take apart eventually, but not for a while. But then this would have been a half of a skein. So this is longer than what the camera can show you. It is about... Well, it's about 25 inches long as it is rolled up like this. And when the person took them apart, they took them apart in 10 strands and tied a knot. And then they took those 10 strands and they took 3 of them. Like, it just blows my mind. And they're tied into individual knots, so it makes it really easy when you go to take this apart. You take one of these strands, and I tell this so that, you know, whoever's getting their box knows what to do. So there's 3 strands, like 3 knots here in this big double knot, and it's silk, so it does come apart really easily. And so each of those 3 little knots has 10 strands. So this is 30 strands that are about 30 inches long, 25, 30 inches long. So when I first saw it at the thrift store, they were in bags by color for $4.99 a bag. And I didn't really know what it was. It looked like string, you know, but it didn't really look like floss because it's so shiny. And, you know, I kind of picked in the bag a little bit, but, you know, it was like, oh, you don't need this, Kim. You just don't need this. And so, because each bag was $4.99 and there was 5 or 6 bags. I can't remember. But anyway, a couple weeks later, I came back and they had put all the bags into one bag and charged $4.99. And then I got my discount on it. Maybe it was $5.99. I can't remember. But then I got my senior discount on it. And so I paid even less. And then I brought it home and I said, okay, now what am I going to do with all this stuff? I mean, I can make tassels with it, but it's a lot of tassels. And so then I was showing it online, and that's when it started for the Thriftees if they wanted some. And I was quite surprised. And then I also sold to other people who wanted it. But one of my subscribers said, have you checked to see if it's silk? And I thought, well, yeah, I know how to do that. And so I took it and you know, lit a match and I burnt it, and it smelled like burning insects, just like a bug zapper does. And so I said, this is silk embroidery floss. So long story short, she got a nice big bag full of mixed colors, and each of them has 3 sets of 10. So you've got a lot here, and when you're ready for more, Candace, you just have to say you want more in another bag, and I can add more. If you are a new Thrifty that is joined and hasn't got any, you can always ask me for some. If you are on the waiting list, when it comes to your turn, I will offer this again, but if I don't think of it, do a reminder if you want to get some of this, because I have lots of it, more than I will ever use in my lifetime. I've shared some with my friends and passed some along to other people, but, you know, there comes a point where, you know, if the Thrifties want more, I got more. So just thought I'd let you know about that. I haven't put it up for sale on coffee yet, but I may eventually. These are playing cards at one time or another. One is a set of lobsters. They're really cool, aren't they? And then this one is from the Smithsonian Institution, and it's just 2 sets of vases. No, they're random cards that I pick out of the pile, but great for making corner tucks on your journal pages and using for a variety of tags and journal card type things, minis and stuff. And then she shows the set of slides. I think I give you six slides in here, but they're 2 pieces that you clip together. They both have a plexiglass on each side. So, you know, if you had some specimens, like maybe a butterfly or a pressed flower, you could put it in between the 2 slides together. Or you could create a back to match up in size, you know, from chipboard or cardstock, and use that as the base. Then apply your specimen, and then only use one of the slides. So in that case, you would get 12 slides out of the deal. So, you know, everybody's different how they like to do things, and I'm sure Candace will experiment and come up with a way to use them for herself. They are plastic around the frame. So they are easy to hole punch with your crocodile and add dangles, or make 2 holes and make it into a hanger. Lots of fun things that you can do with these to add into your journal and create more interest. Okay, one last thing is a box of bling. These are boxes that I make and I just fill. I haven't done some for a while, so maybe it's time to do some of these again. So I just make up these little boxes. You've seen me. I've got a video on how to make these little boxes. And I just fill it up with different things. There you go. You get to see it, but that's it. Because we have to leave something for Candace to go through. But you know, I use broken jewelry, beads, earrings, you know, charms, parts of a necklace, whatever, buttons, whatever I have, you know, little bobbly things, little blingy things. These are all good for making dangles for your journals, and for making tassels and all kinds of goodies like that. So I just, you know, I make up these boxes and then I set them out on the table, and then I go through stuff and I just drop until all the boxes are completely full. You might find a penny in there. You might find some stick pins or some fasteners like brads. It's just a mix of, you know, a dog's breakfast, but a good breakfast, you know, a good fun breakfast. So that's it. That's all for this video. This is Candace's Goodies. I hope you enjoyed this. And Candace, I'm going to after I pack this, at the end of this video, like you'll see it right away, but I have to do it first. I'm going to pack this up and I'm going to show you how it actually does all fit in the box, because now the challenge is on and I got to do it. Luckily for me, Candace has already signed up for her next box. So if there is no way, no how that I can get something in, then I will certainly put it in her next box that she's got waiting. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to fit it all in. So hang on, I'll be right back. Ta-da! It fits. So that's everything, you guys. I just wanted to show you that the box is filled right to the very top. I can just push that down enough to get it in there. So Candace, there is your box. It will be shipping out tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all a very creative day and a creative week. We're getting closer to the weekend. Yay! That's it. That's all. Bye for now.